What's up, everybody? Today I have a very special guest, okay? He's an author of a book called Business Hack. You want to grow your business? You want to be rich? Well, we'll talk about it in just a bit, all right? Let's go. And sometimes I get pretty nervous when I have entrepreneurs come on the show because, you know, they're extremely successful and I always want to be like all these entrepreneurs. But I have a book right in front of me right now that says it's a business hack. And just on the cover of this book, I'll be like, okay, the minute I read this book, I'm going to be rich. But of course, it's not that simple. And just like the subtext over here says, the Wealth Dragon Way to build a successful business in the digital age. And we have that author in the studio today. Ladies and gentlemen, one day he DM'd me on Instagram and I was like, whoa. This guy's got like 2.5 million followers, successful person DMing me because I did a podcast with one of his friends. He is an entrepreneur. He's an author of The Business Hack. And of course, he owns multiple businesses across the world. If you stalk his Instagram, he has hung out with superstars, Marvel stars, Hollywood stars, even Rio Ferdinand, Manchester United, that United. I hear that they're on the top of the table if you turn it upside down. Ladies and gentlemen, we have on the show today, Mr. John Lee. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Jenny. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. How are you? Okay. So I want to backtrack a bit to how I met you before, we have you introduce yourself to the listeners. Like one day I did a podcast with Peng Joon. Peng Joon is actually, I would say that he is some sort of like a business motivational speaker and he's a marketer as well. And he and we go way back because we were in high school. And I got a DM from you. And it's like, oh, Peng Joon's my good friend. And I'm like, whoa, John Lee. And then like, you if I look at your Instagram profile and some of the comics that you do have been circulating on Facebook by other pages, like people kind of repost your work. And it's always about life lessons, about business hacks. And about how to grow your wealth or how to make your money work for you. I'm not going to say so much, but John, could you please, for the benefit of our listeners, please let us know what you do.
So my message really is very simple. It's taking the impossible and making it possible. A lot of people have a dream. A lot of people have ambition. But the problem is we've always been taught a lot of our life journeys that we are not, I guess, good enough or we don't have the potential.
Right.
And so for me, and I grew up in a place called Burnley in the UK, which is kind of this middle of nowhere. I was the only Chinese person in my school. My nickname was Bruce Lee.
Oh man, okay.
I went through a lot of bullying at school, a lot of interesting insights. But what I realized is that, and also I didn't do so well at school.
Okay.
I'm dyslexic. I was kind of the person, if you want to get great results, you want to revise every single day. I was the person that didn't have that. Every
Asian parent will force you to revise, memorize actually. Yeah. You were brought up in a very home, memorize all of your subjects because it was me as well. I didn't understand my subjects. I could pass my exams because I could memorize them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Like we get graded on or how good we are based on how many A's or A stars that we get, but unfortunately that's not how the world works now.
Yes, I would like to say that because I'm completely the same as you. When I was in primary school, my strongest subject was English. And then when I went to high school, my strongest subject was English and math and a couple of subjects. But I didn't do quite well as well. And the thing is, when you don't do well in subjects, you're kind of automatically deemed like a disappointment to your parents. I know it sounds very cliche because everybody makes fun about it on YouTube and social media. It's like an ongoing meme, but that's the truth about it. And it doesn't only stop there. It becomes like a conversational starter of like, oh, my son is this, and then the other auntie will be like, oh, my son's this, or did you hear about that? So that that kind of thing. So it becomes like a comparison kind of thing.
Yeah, and so what I realized is that we there's two types of education.
Yeah.
We have formal education, go to school, get a job, work for somebody else. And then we have self-education, which is a self-development, work on yourself. And, I always say to people in business, if you want to grow your business, the business can only grow to as big as you can grow. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I've now dedicated my life to really get that message to people to say, it doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, I read an article this morning. Ray Kroc, the owner of McDonald's, who started the whole franchise, he started at the age of 50.
Wow.
You know, so it's not about even how old you are, what background. I think everyone has that opportunity. And so for me, I'm always making sure, how can I inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs, and how can I give those ideas, which now the millennials now,
Yep.
you know, the whole way the world's working, people don't want to go back to work anymore.
Yeah.
You know, we have people playing games who make more money than doctors and lawyers and pilots.
And you have like social media influencers who are earning more than like, you know, high respected industries like the engineers or the doctors or like, you know, your accountants. Yeah, the world is rapidly changing.
Yeah, it's changed. So for me, I'm always talking about how can you change the way you think and apply it to today's life. And regardless of all the rejections we've had in our life, how do we turn that rejection into a redirection to something else?
Yeah, and of course, your success speaks based on the car that you drive, because you know he drives a Lamborghini. And I'll be like, "Whoa, nice car!" And I think like you talk a lot about your successful businesses, but was this always your calling since young? I mean, like, did you immediately just start to become an entrepreneur the minute you graduated from college or university?
Well, I worked at my mom's Chinese takeaway as a dishwasher.
Oh,
And, you know, originally I'm from Hong Kong. So
Yep.
my parents were, you know, from Hong Kong. I was born in the UK, but, you know, they call me a honky, right?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, a lot of the people that emigrated from Hong Kong to the UK started Chinese takeaways, and the whole family, literally the next generation after generation is, okay, you bring up the kids work in the shop, and they have kids, and it's kind of like a family business.
Yeah.
I wanted to break that cycle. It's like, don't work hard, work smart. How can you do things in a way that allow you to achieve more faster with less effort?
Wow. Okay, so like it's so funny that you mentioned that, because like I think like a few days ago there was an article that came out on all the news publications saying that Malaysia is the third most overworked country in the whole wide world. And then 2 days after that, an article came out saying that Malaysia is one of the laziest in the whole wide world. So when you said, so I've watched some of your content, and sometimes you tend to say that, you know, there's this saying that use money to make money, and you kind of agree to and kind of disagree on that, because a lot of people tend to always think that, oh, the minute you make money, don't spend it on liabilities. Like you hear a lot of people, investors and all these people who are financial gurus say about this. Oh, when you make money, don't use your money to buy liabilities, you know, use it to reinvest, use money to make money. But you kind of agree to disagree. What's your take on that one?
So here's the thing. What's a liability and what's an asset? Right? So for example, that watch on your hand,
Yeah.
that is not a liability, because that's worth 5 times the price in certain markets. Right? you look at all the Lamborghini.
If you're listening and you're wondering what watch I'm wearing like a Kiki Lala watch, or a Dora the Explorer watch. That's right. It's limited edition.
Right? But the key is that you have to know what's an asset. Like,
Yes.
People need to understand value. And the key to this is intrinsic value. So why did I buy Lamborghini, right? I've bought many of them, but I don't. I have a full-time driver. I don't drive them. I just leave them in the garage. People say, well, why do you do that? Because you buy into network. Your
Right.
network is your net worth.
Yep.
So when you buy into that, you get invited to go to the, unveilings. You get invited to Italy to meet all the other people on track days, and you meet other entrepreneurs. You meet other business owners. So it's a different take on how I look at things. It's like, okay, I invest money there. Plus, by the way, if you buy the right model, it's worth more.
Yeah.
So it's not. Yes, it's a liability if you don't know what you're doing. That's why I always come down to education. Education is like, you must learn before you earn. If you write the word learn down, Learn, take off the L, it actually spells earn.
Yeah.
So
I find it very interesting that you mentioned how you kind of buy something not because you want to indulge in it, but because you kind of want to be in that circle of networking. Like for example, watches like Rolex or AP or even Omega. Like, okay, Rolex, almost impossible to get, right? But the thing is, every year Rolex would basically invite all of their potential customers to an unveiling, event to kind of let you eyeball on all the watches that they're about to release, but you'll never get. And everybody I was invited to a couple of those, and I went there. I was like, oh, no, I'm never gonna get it, whatever, because you can get it, but you're gonna pay 5 times the price on resale, right? But the thing is, that was kind of where I met some of my clients today, which was really like the thing is, nobody taught me how to be a business guy. Nobody taught me how to network. Nobody actually explained to me the importance of networking or how it was applied. Because everybody just says this. Like your parents would say, "Yeah, go out and and network. Yeah, then you'll make money. Study hard. Mix with the right people." And that's what it is actually.
Well, that's why your network is your net worth. There's this saying, I always say that it's not who you know, but it's who knows you.
Right.
But it's also who they know. Like, a lot of people here in Malaysia and a lot of people in Singapore, in UK, in Dubai, and it just takes one phone call or one meeting with somebody. And that's how the whole operation starts. For example, earlier when I came to the office, we talked about Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So Clubhouse, I met a lot of a lot of those people you mentioned, I met a lot of them on Clubhouse.
Yes.
Right, because that was a Silicon Valley app that was created, and all that, like Elon Musk was in there, Mark Zuckerberg was in there, everyone was using it. Do you know a lot of the companies I've invested in that have now become unicorns came from a contact that I met in Clubhouse?
Oh wow!
So this is why I think it's so important that, like, a lot of people talk about like financial income, but really a lot of people don't think of like relationship capital. Like finance capital is your money. Relationship capital is the people that you know. Most people won't even fly 8,000 miles to have a meeting.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, well, why don't you just Zoom it?" Well, Zoom is you get one dimension.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you and I talking now is like a 3D, 4D dimension, right? Like, I can see you.
Is he real? Can I touch him?
Right. So for me, I'm always making sure, like, who do I know? Because look, anything you want to achieve in life, there's two questions you want to ask.
Yep.
Number one, how do you do it? Number two, who has done it?
Yeah.
That's it. And you find those people and you work with them, you help them, and you always serve. Like, what are you currently working on right now that I can support you with? Like, that whole Lamborghini crew, like, a lot of these people are my investors in real estate, a lot of people that we trade deals together as well. Even getting to know the people who work there and you help them. There's one guy who, basically, he's a salesperson, but he's the only salesperson in the whole of the UK that owns his own Lamborghini.
Oh, wow.
How? Because he's using social media to market. Every time a Lamborghini comes in, a new one, STO, Urus, the new Aventadors, he just makes a post. People message him on DM for a test drive. They test drive the car, put the order in.
Oh, wow.
So that's a good little strategy. But now, because I taught him that strategy, guess what? I get the best cars now.
Oh,
Before they
wow.
come out. And then you know that there's build slots, you have to wait. So as soon as you buy the car, you're making 50,000 on it straight away.
Okay.
Right? So it's also a business model around that. And so there's so many fascinating things that a lot of people can do with what they've already got. And it's not, people say, well, John, I don't have the money to buy something. Well, do you know somebody who does? That's how I did one of my first property deals. It was on the market for 185. I bought it for 85,000. It's 100 grand off. I didn't have the money. So I joined a circle. I bought my way into the circle of entrepreneurs and investors. And then I met one person there who gave me the money to buy the house.
Oh, wow.
And then I just sold it. I paid her the money back with interest.
Ah.
That's it.
Oh, wow. That's such a different mindset, though. It's like you're so far forward for me. It's like, I mean, I'm trying to kind of like compute whatever you're trying to say. It's like, whoa. So the way you speak kind of obviously comes from experience. So I just want to rewind back to when you were mentioning that how you worked for your parents in that takeaway shop and stuff like that. And you mentioned that you weren't really the brightest kid in school. At what point did you come out to do did you work a day job from 9 to 5 when you came out, like after college and after uni?
Yeah, so my degree was actually animation. So I used to be an animator.
Animation?
Yeah, I was an animator. So I used 3D Studio Max and Maya and Softimage. I used to work for Framestore CFC and EA Games.
Oh, wow. This is completely like 180 degrees of what you're doing now.
Absolutely. But here's the thing, right? It's all about creativity. I took that creativity that I used in animation, how we used to move characters around on the screen, to how do we be creative in business.
Right.
And so back then, when I was working in when I graduated, I got a job. And actually, I got a job straight away. Like, why? Because I spent, during my university, when you get, so in UK we get something called a student grant. So they give you like, a couple of $1,000.
Yeah.
Right. And you use that money, and most people spend it on beer, partying. Guess what I did? There was this festival called 3D Festival, and I basically spent all my money to fly there to listen to every single talk of all these animators and directors, and I'd walk up to them at the end. I would say, "Do you have anything that I could do to help support you?" So a lot of them said no. I was like, "Who's this guy? Asking me questions." But one of them is, and I'll never forget his name. His name's Chris Cook. He worked for Passion Pictures. Have you heard of a band called the Gorillas?
Yeah.
I ain't happy.
Yeah.
So that band basically did all the animation characters for that, and I got chance to sit down and basically become a runner. So I
Oh.
get people coffee and I get people their lunch. But here's the interesting thing that happened. At the end, like around 5, 6 o'clock, when people would leave, I would still be behind and I would order, pizzas and things for people. And, sometimes I would be able to get onto the computers and also have the person mentor and coach me to see how this stuff works.
Oh.
So I guess my internship there turned into becoming a full-time animator working for one of the biggest visual effects companies in the world.
Wow. Did you get to ever meet the singers behind Gorillaz?
I did not.
Oh, I did not?
No.
Damn it. What the hell, man? Why are they so secretive about themselves? That's very interesting. Like from animation, but you came out and so what was your first business venture? Like, you came out, you worked in a 9-to-5 job, and I'm pretty sure at some point you'd be like thinking to yourself, because I saw one of your videos, you mentioned that you're working a 9-to-5 job and you were basically working to kind of pay off your living. And then when did it kind of strike you that, hey, I think I can kind of do something with regards to running my own business? Did you succeed right away, or did you fail?
I kind of did okay, actually.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I'll tell you why. Because I invested in myself.
Okay.
I read this book called E-Myth. Have you read it? E-Myth?
No, I've not heard of E-Myth.
Michael Gerber, incredible. And the E-Myth stands for entrepreneur myth. All because you're good at something doesn't mean you're good at business. Like you have great operators, but you have not so great executors.
Yep.
So when I saw that, I thought, okay, well, what system can I create? And I wasn't that smart. I was like, okay, what's easy to do? How can I make money faster in one lump sum? And of course, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, which talks about real estate investment.
Yep.
And I remember listening to a podcast. This is why I love the way that you're doing. Like millions of people get to listen to this, and if just you change one life, it's worth it.
Oh yeah.
And that life was me. I mean, I listened to that podcast, and it was by a guy called Dolph DeRuse, and he talked about going to university, getting a degree, right? But he couldn't get a job.
Right.
It was overqualified, underexperienced, a PhD. So he spent like 6 months trying to get a job, and at the same time, when he finally gets the job, guess what? He sells a property, and for the offer that he got for $35,000, he sells one property and makes back $35,000. And I thought, oh my God, like why don't I just like buy one house, sell it, and then take the rest of my life off? It sounded
so simple.
It's so simple.
Simple-minded.
It's really simple. Like I thought, hold on a second. Because I was on £36,000 in London, and in London that won't buy you anything.
Yep.
It's like it's so expensive, like to live in London. So I was literally living on the breadline. Literally, I mean, because the more money you spend, the more money you make, more money you spend. The more money you make, more money you spend. So I thought to myself, hold on a second, I just need to buy one house, and then in that year, if I spend the whole year instead of working 40 hours a week, I just dedicate that time to finding deals and sell one. Then I can quit my job, and then I've got time. Because here's the thing. You and I both have the same 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Question is, what do we do with it? Right? It's the leverage. So then I thought, okay, let me dedicate the time to find one property.
Yep.
Right? And I'm going to buy it, I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to quit my job, and then I don't have to work.
Yeah, but now you have multiple businesses, though. It's not this. Was that your first job was into your first business into real estate?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. It's like, everybody keeps telling me like, oh, you want to make money, go into real estate. But for me, I feel like I don't have the patience to kind of knock on doors, because I feel like I'm not the salesperson kind of guy. I know like real estate agents will probably call like 1,000 people and get one deal. But when they get one deal, it's a big deal.
But here's the thing, right? So we talk about relationships.
Yeah.
Anyone listening to this podcast right now, you got to think about who do you know who knows somebody else. There's this concept called 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Meaning within 6 phone calls, you can get to anyone that you want.
Oh, that's true. Right? I very much agree to that, because I'm a film producer, and every time when we, like if like for example, like just one example, like if the directors wanted to shoot at one location, I have no idea who owns the location, but then like you tweet out and somebody comes back, and I think I know of someone, and you call that someone, oh no, I don't know, but I might know someone, and then all of a sudden I got the number of the owner of that location. But we didn't end up shooting there because, for other reasons. But it was so, I won't say it's easy. It didn't happen within the day. It happened within like 3 days, but it can be done if you really go out and search for it.
But it's building the contacts. So for example, I have a lot of contacts in Hollywood. So if you want to come to Hollywood, I put you in touch with all my contacts who are doing the Netflix producers, all these people that run all these shows.
Yeah.
Right? So we have this connection. So it's 6 degrees of separation. So it's the same with real estate. Like I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who needs to sell a property fast because of they lost a job, they emigrating to a different country, they have had a divorce and they want to sell the property fast. There's always that contact. So it starts with one, but it leads to the rest.
Right.
And so I'll tell you how I got that first deal. I was in a seminar, right? And the lady sat next to me, her name was Julie McDade. And this guy was on stage talking about finding deals below market value. I said, come on, if it's that good, everybody would be doing it. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, it's not always, common sense isn't always common.
Yeah.
And I said to Julie, I said, okay, well, have you got any deals? I said, well, if I get a deal, I'll let you know. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from her, and that's the deal I was telling you about, right? One contact from being in the right location, the right time. So it's also timing.
Yep.
So I would say it's always the 30, 30, 30, 10. 30% is your why you want to do something. 30% is the how. 30% is the application, because knowledge is not power.
Yeah.
Knowledge is potential power. It's what you do with it. It's 10% luck.
Oh, wow. That's the 10% luck. This is crazy. All right, I think I'm going to quit my job right now and go into real estate tomorrow. Can I have some of your contacts, John?
But you only need one.
Yeah,
Right?
I know it's okay. So have you like the way you network very well? I mean, judging from how you kind of reached out, and you know, some people Asians are in Malaysia are more reserved. I mean, obviously you do get some of the people who are more like confident and just reaching out and like introducing themselves, selling what they do and stuff like that. And most of the time, most people would just like keep quiet. But like, were you always a great networker?
No, I wasn't. I was actually, believe it or not, I was really like introvert.
Okay.
Like shy. But what I realized is that sometimes discipline is doing things you don't want to do in order to get the results that you want.
Yep.
And so sometimes like I didn't just like sometimes when you want to go to the gym, you don't always want to work out.
Yeah.
Right? But when you work out, it's good. So like it's that's that 5-second decision that you got to make. Do I open that conversation or do I not? Do I reach out? Like if I hadn't sent that DM to you, if I hadn't have been scrolling on Instagram, if I hadn't have known my good friend Peng Jun, we would not be having this conversation, which means millions of people now cannot listen to this message that can maybe make an impact. It will start that ripple effect.
Yeah. Oh, that's...
So it's all a butterfly effect.
Yeah.
It's everything leads to one thing, leads to something else, cause and effect. That's why I'm so fascinated with how social media works. That's why I wrote the book, Business Hack. You got to hack it in a different way, do it differently. And it's not, and there's never a lack of resources.
Yep.
There's only a lack of resourcefulness.
Okay, so I probably want to ask this question that most people who kind of envy entrepreneurs who want to be like entrepreneurs, because sometimes when a lot of people go to talks and then they see a successful person up on stage and they want to be like that person, and like when a person wants to start their own business and they don't know what to do, so what's the biggest thing that they must first have or even go to before they even think of being an entrepreneur?
It's so simple now. You've got so much software out there that, first of all, I would say this: take what you're passionate about, turn that into a business, right? If there's a lot of people listening to this who love doing what they do, they make a lot of money doing it as well, but they hate doing it. So that's not really life. We're not living, we're just existing in space, And so my first advice is, okay, what are you passionate about? Because now you can play games and make a lot of money from that.
Yep.
Right now you can help people and make a lot of money. You can create content. I mean, right now we're in the birth of the creator economy. That's why I love the way that you're doing. You get to impact so many people, and you can tell you love what you do. And like, even if you didn't get paid to do it, I guarantee you would still do it. Right? You see? That's the acid test.
Yeah.
If I didn't get paid to fly all around the world and speak in front of thousands of people, I probably shouldn't say this because now all these promoters are going to come to me. But I'd probably still do it.
All right.
Because it's people always talk about this work-life balance. I think that's nonsense. Right now we're evolving to work-life integration.
Right.
You have to have life as part of your work, because right now everything's changing. When the pandemic, people stayed at home. Now people go back to work. They don't want to work in an office anymore. Do you know a lot of my friends of companies who have hundreds of employees, a lot of them just quitting their jobs. They're actually taking a pay cut just because they want to work from home.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so now the offices are all changing. So now it's flipped the other way around. People are now working at home to do their job, but now they go to the office to socialize and network. So if you look at all the offices now, they're being redesigned, not tables and chairs. It's like, I've got a couch, I've got a coffee shop in the middle. We come, we have food, we talk. And that's how the world is now starting to evolve. And so when I look at that, that is really the growth of the what I call the digital entrepreneur, the digital nomad, the solopreneur. Right now, people can take what they're passionate about, create content, and then get paid to do it. TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, all these big platforms have a creator fund now.
Yeah.
So anyone could put content up and make a couple of $1,000s a month. And if you translate that into ringgits, that's like what?
A lot.
8,000 ringgits. That's enough to be able to replace an income.
Yeah, without shrinking ringgit, yes, a lot.
Right.
Yeah. Then okay, so parents have always told us to work hard. Work hard and you'll make more money. Do you believe in that saying until today?
I believe in work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have work ethic. But I believe that it's also working smart as well.
Yep.
Right? So there are, for example, there are a lot of softwares out there right now that you click a button and it'll create a whole online business for you.
Oh yeah.
Right? You don't need programming skills, Python, Java, C++ in the old days. Now it's very easy to implement. Like a lot of the things are done for you. So yes, I believe in work ethic. Like you have to put the time in. You people are waiting for opportunities to come. Right? And unfortunately, opportunities don't just flow to you. You have to go out, you have to knock on the door to get the opportunity. And throughout my entire life and all the millionaires and billionaires that I know, same thing. When they started out, they knocked on doors, they put themselves out there, regardless of how shy they were, because ultimately it means that if you get that opportunity, it's going to change your life. That one decision
Right.
that you makes a massive difference to your life.
So okay. So what was that one decision that you make? And before you answer that question, what was the biggest rejection that you will never ever forget in your career of being an entrepreneur?
That's a heavy question.
Yeah.
One of the biggest rejections for me is probably my parents.
Oh, okay.
When I told them, the day I quit my job to become an entrepreneur, I went from a £36,000
Yeah.
to £60,000 pay rise.
Right.
So that was good money.
Yeah,
back
it is
then,
double.
right? Yeah, it's double. But when I told my parents that I'm quit my job and in Chinese that means you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Right. And I said to Mom, well, Mom, why do you say that?
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, your dad told me. Well, how does Dad know? Well, Uncle told Dad. Well, how does Uncle know? Oh, he heard it on the news.
Okay.
Right. So you have to be careful who you get your advice from. And as much as I wanted to respect my parents,
Yeah.
and to honor them,
Yeah.
I made my own decision.
Okay.
And it was hard back then. And this is the whole point of entrepreneurship. It's a very lonely business.
Oh yeah.
People don't know what you're doing. They think you're crazy working all these hours, and they don't get it. So that's why I've stopped telling people what I do.
Okay.
I just let people find out, oh my God, I just heard you became an investor in that company, or you did that, or you did, and so I let my results do all the speaking, right? And so now when you have that, and it's much easier to convince them, oh, this is the venture I'm going into, and it worked.
Okay.
Rather than, oh, this is the venture I'm going to, and it might work. And that's and my parents were, they were only like that because they loved me.
Yeah.
Right? They were trying to protect me.
They will always protect you for as long as they're around. They will
Yeah.
always think that you're still a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they only have limited knowledge.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? They can only make the best decisions based on what they know
Back then.
back then.
Yeah. Which does not apply to today because tech has evolved a lot of things.
Oh, text. I mean, the Web3, Metaverse, crypto. I
Yeah.
mean, can you? So here's the thing. People say, John, like, what do you think about crypto? Right? So if people just 10 years ago took half of their salary in Bitcoin, for example,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, the market is very volatile. But even still, I mean, it would have been all right for people at the time of the recording of this. I mean, 10 years from now, it might be something completely different.
Yeah.
But I just think people need to also diversify. Don't put all your eggs into one basket, even if you're not in business. Like one thing that I've realized with people who are very successful, they don't have one income. They on average, most millionaires have about 7 income streams.
Oh wow. I need to have multiple income streams. All right, yeah. I need help, guys. I want to be there, but yeah. Oh, you can. This is the very common saying that like you assume that a very successful businessman is super good at what they do and it's one business, but actually in actual fact they have like 10, 20, 30 businesses, and all 30 businesses are not successful. It probably out of 30 businesses, maybe like even 5 is successful.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
If you're
Yeah.
lucky.
But it's so successful that it actually covers up for the other 25 that's not successful or something like that.
You know, I want to share something. This one piece of this saying I'm telling you right now has changed my life. And for the people listening, I hope you write this down, listen to this, and really absorb this. It's not how much money you make when you write. It's how much money you lose when you're wrong.
Oh, that's a very good mindset.
Right? And if you look at how all the VCs, like I have a lot of friends in Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah.
So the way they invest in companies, they'll invest in 100 companies and one will basically be a unicorn.
Yeah.
Right? So 99 fail. A lot of companies I invested in failed.
Right.
Lost a lot of money, but the one that does well goes to the moon.
Right.
So this is why you have to hedge your bets. I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not giving any financial advice. I'm just saying that you've got to get educated. Right? If you don't know about Web3, learn about it. Right? In fact, if you don't know what the Metaverse is, watch Ready Player One.
Oh,
right?
okay.
It'll kind of explain how all the world is now changing, and how the NFTs, non-fungible tokens, like how all of that now is just changing everything. Why would someone pay $500,000 for a picture of an ape?
Yeah.
Right? See, if you don't understand why, it's the same reason why people don't understand why people would pay £100,000 for an AP.
Right.
For example. Right? So it's understanding the intrinsic value of everything you go into. And that also applies if you're working in a job. What is intrinsic value when you work in your job? How do you stand out? How do you get promoted? Right? How do you bring more to the bottom line for that company?
Right.
And ultimately, it's becoming the better version of you.
Wow. It's I think to sum up what you've been kind of telling us, the biggest investment you can ever make is investing in yourself
And others.
Yeah, and others.
And relationships.
Yeah.
Have to invest in relationships, because here's the thing. If you look at let's just take money as a concept,
Yep.
right? There is no shortage of money in a recession, in a war, whatever's happening in the world right now, right? There is no shortage of that. The thing is, you as an individual listening to this, money just gets transferred from one person to another person, or one thing to another thing. And guess where the biggest transfers happen? During a crisis. Do you know in the pandemic, a lot of people, didn't do so well.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, it was a challenging time for a lot of people, but there are some companies that just soared.
Yeah.
Because they saw the opportunity, like Weiji, it's like Chinese word for crisis, right?
Right.
And one word is danger, the other one is opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the opportunities coming? But you got to be prepared for it. Success is when preparation meets the opportunity, meaning that you have to see and be prepared for when it comes. Because if you got that shot to get in and you miss that shot, the boat's gone.
Yeah.
It's going to take another 10, 15 years for it to come around again.
Another cycle. I'm not hoping for another pandemic, but interesting. Very interesting. What's your take on crypto? We all know that it got a lot more mainstream in 2021, 2022, where a lot of institutional investors are all jumping in. What's your take on crypto?
I like crypto. In fact, I think crypto will... you just have to look at the whole world right now. You see money, right? There's if you look at all the different countries around the world, you want to make more money, what do? They just print more of it. So the more of it you have, what happens to the currency, right? It goes down. Look at all the currencies right now. Look at the foreign exchange rates. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's unprecedented, right? So only the value of that is going down. But if you look at crypto, and by the way, I will say this as a caveat, don't invest in things you can't afford to lose.
Yeah.
Right? You should always separate. So I always talk about these 5 systems. So let's say you make $5,000 a month. Basically, you put $5,000 in your savings.
Yeah.
$5,000 in your play account. You can spend money on stuff.
Yep.
Sorry, 1,000 in that, sorry. And then another 1,000 in your contribution account.
Yeah.
Another 1,000 in your investment, another 1,000 in your education.
Right.
So you want to split it up, because what people do is they take all the money, then they make one punt, and then they lose it and it's gone.
Right.
So you have to diversify that way. Saying that, if you look at what's happening now with a lot of the big brands now are moving into crypto.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the traditional businesses now. So for example, I have a friend who owns a watch shop.
Yep.
And he said, how do you like to pay? You want to pay using your American Express or Bitcoin? I said, what? You accept Bitcoin? Right? So a lot of these companies, and if you think about on our phones, we have Apple Pay.
Yeah.
Right? And our wallet's on there. So now we have a digital wallet. So if you look at things like Twitter and Instagram, they're now allowing you to connect your
NFTs,
wallet to your Instagram. Why? So you can trade it. Right? So I think that definitely people need to get, but there are a lot of different issues, right? You have the pump and dumps, you
Yep.
have the, the Dogecoin.
Yeah, you have the
which
Lunas,
you just go to the moon and then go to the grave.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to be educated.
Right.
You have to know why. And I'll tell you one of the reasons why most coins go up and go down. There's no utility.
Yep.
There's no community. Also, depending on which crypto you go into, like Bitcoin, everyone's holding like gold.
Yeah.
Ethereum is great, but there's gas fees and it's slow.
Yep.
Solana is like incredibly quick, no gas fees, but it keeps getting hacked.
Yep.
So there's another one coming out, which probably you and I will talk about off air.
Yeah.
but it's you have to understand the market, what's happening, and I'm telling you, a lot of that market is actually manipulated.
Yeah.
Right. So you got market makers in there. You've got people just pumping it all the way up. So it has to be stabilized as well. And it's also, what is it attached to? That's why in the past you had ICOs, which is initial coin offerings.
Yes.
Now you have your NFTs.
Yeah.
Which is basically your utility attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's holding a lot of the value. So now it's basically become a VIP pass.
Yeah.
So in terms of crypto, you definitely got to keep your eye on it. Right? Because it's interesting, because one of my friends who attended a seminar like over a decade ago, and they were talking about Bitcoin. She went home and told her husband about it. He said, "Oh, it sounds like a scam."
Yeah.
So she never invested.
Okay.
Right? And I think both you and I probably were in that situation. We thought, this digital thing, it can't be that big.
Yeah.
But you have to look at where the market is moving. It only takes Apple to produce another iPhone equivalent, a piece of technology that will change everything. So we have to adapt. I was in Harrods the other day in London. Do you know they have a full rig of it's kind of like a treadmill, but that can run in the 360-degree direction, so I can run in any direction.
Yeah.
But when I'm in a game,
you're basically immersed into that 3D, that metaverse. Yeah, the metaverse. Yeah, and it can be a first-person shooter game. It can be anything that, because you're basically using every part of your body.
Yeah.
And when you crouch down, it's just basically, it's a 3D world.
Yeah, and we're talking about 3D world. People are now buying. So we talk about physical real estate.
Yep.
But now you have digital real estate.
Yeah, I know.
Right? People are buying. Do you know I forget the company, but there's a company that bought some land in Sandbox or one of the metaverses.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? They're going to turn that into Times Square. I'm like, hold on a second. But if it's digital land, is it unlimited? So here's the thing. Right? It's like a website. If a website has no traffic, it's got no value. If a metaverse piece of real estate has no people going there, no transaction volume, there's no value.
Yeah.
So this is why people, ask me about crypto. It's not just about crypto. It's the whole Web3 space that we're now in the transition. We're in Web 2 now, probably Web 2.5 right now.
Yeah.
We are transitioning now into Web 3.
Wow.
So people need to get ready for it.
Oh, web. We see when you tell me web 1, 2, 3, 4, I have no idea. I just know the World Wide Web. I go there, Google whatever I need to find,
But that's the thing. We won't have websites in the future.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah. I mean, think about it now. The way we shop, we go to Amazon, we pick what we want.
Yeah.
Now, let's say I want to go to Genie Boy's shop. I just put my glasses on. This is the whole environment turns. Okay, I want to buy that piece of merchandise.
Yep.
I want to buy his book. I want to book him for a speech. And he just shows him in front of you. And now you speech. Now you've got artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow.
Right?
But wouldn't that be kind of throwing away interaction? Because yes, the metaverse is a digital world. It's for the best way to explain it is Ready Player One. You put on a pair of goggles and you go into this world where, number one, you either be yourself or you create a completely artificial version of yourself. So will you think that there will be instances where people will kind of not be them? There'll be a lot of what's that word? There'll be a lot of people who are kind of behind a mask rather than being themselves in this metaverse.
But does it matter though? you're in a game.
Okay, game. Okay, if it's a game, it's fine.
It's a game, but it's a meta. You know how most people, you go into the restaurants and people are on the phones?
Yeah.
Right? In the future, they're going to be on the goggles. They'll be eating, they'll be in the goggles. Right? And that's.
But the food will be real though, of course, right? It can't be digital. You can't be eating digital food.
Well, look at the old Tamagotchi. Tamagotchis were having digital food.
Yeah.
So now they already have that. It's called a skin. So if I'm in a game and I want to be Iron Man or Spider-Man, I can buy the skin and I'm running around Fortnite in a Spider-Man costume. So this is, and the more you think about it, the more crazy it sounds. But
yeah. I have thought about it. Yes, it is very crazy. But at the end of the day, what value does it bring to the individual? I know that
escapism.
Escapism. Okay.
It's the next form of entertainment.
Okay.
I mean, how many people sit in front of Netflix and spend hours and hours and hours watching a show?
Okay.
But now you can be in the show.
Yeah, okay, and I was about to say entertainment because like, because there will be instances where you have to get out of the metaverse to do the things that you need to do, like grocery shopping maybe, or like meeting up with friends. But other than that, entertainment, very interesting because like crypto is probably growing. Do you think we are very early in the crypto space, or are we all like really too late to get into it?
We're still early.
Oh, really?
We're still early. Think about it. There are 3.5 billion people using the internet.
Yeah.
There's 7.8 billion people on the planet that are still not connected. Do you know the funny thing is? Do you know in most countries, like let's say go to India,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people living in the slums, they don't even have a roof over their head. But do you know one thing they do have?
A phone.
A phone.
And I think that's the reason why YouTube kind of exploded all of a sudden, and then there were a lot of Indian viewers, because all of a sudden somebody kind of made it really easy to have access to data in India, and cheap as well. And all of a sudden everybody was more informed. Like, Google is basically the second largest search engine. YouTube is the second largest search engine next to Google.
Yes.
Google's just dominating everything.
Well, they own YouTube.
Yeah, they do own YouTube. So like, I think ever since that, like, India or the rest of the world, YouTube has become even bigger, and this, you just see an influx of new market, domination. Which brings me to my next question. You know how when we were kids, we were always being pressured to study so that we can get into the top class or the top school, the top university, and enroll yourself in the best education system? Do you think with how the digital economy is evolving, I know I'm going to get a little bit of flack when I say this, do universities and institutions still matter? Or like okay, let me kind of backtrack to why I asked that question. I studied marketing and PR. I did not study anything with regards to film, right? I did not know how to edit. I did not know how to film. I did not know how to operate a camera. But because I loved or was interested in doing it, I searched it up on Google at that point in time before YouTube had people making videos about how to edit this and that. So I read articles, right? And then when YouTube suddenly became hot and popular, I was able to watch people do it and learn how they did it, and did it alongside with them. And because of that, I was able to go out and shoot my first film. So the thing is, before I get too overly long-winded, so I paid almost like $100 over grand to get a paper degree that tells me that I'm a marketing graduate and a marketing and PR degree student. Whereas I learned something for absolutely free and made a business out of it. What's your take on that?
I'm so passionate about it. I'm so glad you asked me this question. When's the last time you used Pythagoras theorem or algebra?
What is that?
Right? All these other things that we've learned. And I think...
I wouldn't discount those. I'm pretty sure people who uses it as an application, like your engineers, your pilots, and everything. Yeah. Well, yes, kudos to them. But the others,
the majority,
yes.
Right? So sometimes I agree with what you're saying. It's like almost school is a little bit outdated. Think about it. Why do we go to school? We go to school, we get a job, and then we work for somebody else. Why? To earn money.
Yeah.
So if the purpose is to earn money to make a living, to live, then shouldn't we, if we can shortcut that process and go straight to the money? And I'm not saying, people say, well, John, you're so like money motivated. Well, the world is run by money.
Yep.
You have to play the game. If you don't play the game of money, you're not in the game. So, but I do believe that university, college, it does have an application. I'll give an example.
Yep.
70% of the unicorns, when I say unicorn, billion-dollar valuations, right?
Yep.
70% of the unicorns come from a lot of the Ivy League schools like Stanford, and Harvard, and MIT, and Berkeley, and Brown, like in the US. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but why is that the case? First of all, you need $500,000 to get in.
Yep.
Right? That's the first thing.
$500,000 to get in.
Second of all, you have to be like the top of the top.
Yeah.
Right? And typically, it's always where a lot of the rich people send their kids.
Yep.
Right? And so, of course, you've got a startup idea, or a friend, go and speak to your buddy, and let's go and raise $1 million for that. And everyone's just connected.
Yeah.
This is why it comes down to relationships again.
Yeah.
So for me, I will send my kids to school not for the education.
Oh.
The network.
It's coming down to that. Yeah. I read this book. I'm not sure if you read it. It's called The $1 Billion Whale. Have you read that book? No? Okay. I mean, if people do not know what The $1 Billion Whale is about, it's Tom Wright, the author of this book, he basically wrote an expose about the 1MDB scandal. I'm not going to talk about the scandal, but Joe Low, obviously, when he was a kid, they were from a wealthy family, and they sent him to a school, not for the education, but because of the people who went there. The royals went there. The biggest company owners in the whole world go there, and yeah, his job was the father was at go there and network. So yeah, I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that, because it's like in the beginning of this podcast we were talking about how we basically buy a really expensive car to get into that network, or you buy a watch to get into that network. It's so funny that now that we're having this conversation, sometimes even universities and education is about network. It's quite crazy. Then
I'll give you another example. So my friend Darren Rodriguez, he and I was like kind of top in our class. I was at EA Games and he was at Framestore CFC, and they do all the effects for Marvel. And
Framestore is based in the UK, right?
Yeah.
And they do some of the biggest visual effects for movies.
Avengers, all all the big movies, right?
Because just to give people a bit of context, Framestore is huge. I think they've done they've done like all the Avengers, most of the Avengers movies. They've got in touch with us before because they wanted to do some collaborations, but they not for visual effects, but they have ventured out into a lot of other businesses as well, like social media, marketing, agency. They basically they are one big conglomerate. So yeah, so just to give you a background. So yes, go on.
But I tell you that story because when I was at EA Games, and they own the different companies, and the one that I won't mention the name, but I got so good at my job that my boss fired me. Got a little bit like, what's the word? Threatened, if you will, right? And so when and I remember sitting in the office and I was just in tears. I'm like, well, I give my life to this company. Every waking hour I'm always thinking about this. Why are you letting me go?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I remember walking out of that, and I gave my friend Darren a call.
Mm-hmm.
Guess where he worked? Framestore CFC.
Mm-hmm.
He said, brother, look, don't worry. Look, I'll make a few calls. Just don't worry. Go home. Go and tell your partner at the time. And I just went back and I was just so depressed.
Yep.
And a couple of days later, he gave me a call and said, John, I got you an interview for Framestore. If I hadn't have known Darren at that university that I went to, and we spent that time together, and we'd go clubbing and the gym and playing badminton and all that stuff together, I would not have got that job in there, which means I would not have built up the desire to become an entrepreneur.
Right.
Right? Because working in Framestore was great, by the way. It's one of the best jobs that I ever had.
Yeah.
But it was so demanding. I get up at like 6, 7 o'clock, travel, commute to London, work every day, weekends. It was because, like working on film projects.
Yeah.
It's not a 9 to 5. It's like, get the shot done.
Yeah.
Or change that finger there. You have to re-render the whole thing again. It takes like a week.
Yeah.
So for me, I always wanted to inspire people. Like, it doesn't matter what happens in your life. Right? When the universe hits you with something, it's not, okay, why did this happen to me? It happened to me for a reason, because the universe was trying to redirect me to something else.
Right.
Trying to change my course.
Mm-hmm.
And so all these little things, if I track back to all the turning points in my life, some of them were very painful.
Yep.
Some of them were ecstatic
Mm-hmm.
and euphoric. But all these things come into place. I think there's a reason why you and I met.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's going to listen to this podcast and reach out and say, oh, I just heard you on the podcast on JD Boy.
Yep.
Like, can we do this together? And that might evolve to something else.
Okay.
So it's just crazy. Like, I was just with the producers of The Matrix in Dubai.
Whoa, nice.
Right? And so they said to me, John, I saw your social media. You're in this social media space. You've invested in some of these unicorns that are now billion-dollar companies in the Web3 space. Can you put me in touch? Why? They want to do a film, and they want to do fractional ownership of the film.
Right. Oh.
With all the assets.
Wow. Okay.
So things like that is it happens because one person meets somebody else. That's why you just never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. And if you have to fly 1,000 miles to a different location to meet that person, do it. You never know what's going to come with it.
Even when you don't get anything out of it, it's worth that investment.
Some relationships that I've been sort of with, like, don't turn into anything until like 5 or 10 years on.
Okay.
It's just, you don't go there with intention to, what business have I got? You go with the intention of giving, serving, great things will come.
And of course, you go there with something. Yeah, like when you mentioned that you go there with something to give, you don't go there just to take. You have to give something in return as well.
Always.
It's always a mutual respect kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Now, here's a question I would like to ask you. It's like, you're a successful entrepreneur, all right? A lot of questions I want to ask you. So obviously, you've made money. Now, from the first day that you kind of started your own business and made, that investment to invest in yourself, build businesses, invest in other companies, and made a lot of money, has your motivation and purpose changed ever since then? Like, how many years have you been doing this now?
15 years.
15 years. So, like, go back to year one. Obviously, I'm not sure whether I'm right to say that, okay, at that point of time, maybe your motivation was money. All right.
Absolutely.
So is the motivation? Does the motivation still stay? Is that motivation still the same 15 years later?
No.
Okay.
It's not. Like obviously money's important.
Yeah.
Like, I always say that if you have a powerful message to share, you have to get paid so you can carry on delivering that message.
Yeah.
So it's not a charity. So business is all about revenue and profit. Make no mistake about that. But the purpose and the reasoning has changed. Like people say, John, why are you flying all the way to Malaysia to do this, or flying, like I just got back from Melbourne, why are you flying all the way to Australia to do that? Because it's the context that you make, right? And so for now, it's about the purpose. Like if I can, inspire one person that can inspire another 1,000 people, and they pay it forward, then basically you get the network effect.
Yeah.
And so for now, the only reason why I want to make more money now is so I can make more impact.
Right.
That's it. Like honestly, I could retire now and not have to do anything and sit in front of watch Netflix all day and get fat.
Yeah, this is because the reason why I asked that question is because some people, they start a business, they become successful, then they sell it, and that's it, because I've got all the money. And some people are that simple. It's like, okay, that's it. But like, how do you continuously find the drive to do whatever you're doing, when you know for a fact that sometimes it doesn't even like make you money, or do you, like, I'm sure at one point in time when you started doing your own business, right, it's always about, should I make this trip? What was the return on investment? Would it make me that much money, right? But like, I'm pretty sure today you kind of think differently. It's more of like, oh no, I just want to meet more people and see what I can do.
This sounds really fluffy, and people are going to think, it's like woo-woo stuff, but I'm very spiritual. I believe that things happen for a reason. You meet people come into your life for a reason, and I believe in energy and intention. We put intention out there, and the universe will come back with something. And so I asked the same question to my friend who just sold his company for 150 million. Cash.
Oh man,
cash. Do you know the next week he goes and starts another business?
Oh wow. Yeah.
All right, and so when I see another friend of mine, Alex Stern, sold a company for 1.1 billion cash, and what's he doing now? He's still going out and inspiring. Right, you look at like Elon Musk, who sells PayPal for like 100 odd million, right? Puts all the money into SpaceX and Tesla, has to sleep on his friend's couch, right? Just so we can start another company. So why is it entrepreneurs? Entrepreneur is not about money. I mean, you need the money to survive.
Yes.
But the underlying why and the reason comes down to your purpose. And the purpose is impact. I mean, look at this. This phone is here, but Steve Jobs is not.
Yeah.
Right? So he left a part of him behind.
You're right.
Right, so a part of what we do is legacy. Like when we leave this planet, most of us won't be remembered.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what can stay behind to pass? Like that book. Like I'll show the first page of this book. Right. I'll go to the first page. So if you read that, it says my original why, my mum.
For mum, my original why. Oh, and for Kira, my new why.
My baby daughter. I know you have.
Yeah.
As well. So we don't do this for us. Like when my daughter can read, guess what? She's been able to go through all of the content that I've put out on the internet, right? So, if something happens and God forbid, touch wood, I meet my creator, guess what? Some of me is left behind.
Right.
My message. That's why we don't live forever.
Okay.
The human race is supposed to evolve to something else. But our goal is to plant the seeds and ideas for people to be able to take those ideas and seeds to grow into something greater than what we could ever do.
Okay.
So the money is important because it's a vehicle to allow that to grow, but it's not the main driver. Seriously, like there are a lot of things I turned down that literally are millions, right? Either I don't like the project, it doesn't resonate with me, or it really is just not something that I'm comfortable with. Like I get a lot of business propositions about doing this, this, and that. And people, like there was one promoter, one of the biggest promoters in the world. I made a decision 10 years ago to not work with that promoter because of some funny things they were doing. Do you know how much that money that's cost me? Millions. Millions.
I wish I could say stuff like that. Like, that cost me millions, but it's okay, because I got millions more.
but here's the thing, something. So I got the chance to meet Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Right. This was maybe 2 or 3 years back. So I was at his house and we were talking. And do you know one of the things that Leo mentioned? Like, do you know every time you would go to an audition, and the casting director would say, "Hey, can you juggle?" He said, "Yeah, of course I can juggle." He can't juggle.
Yep.
Right. "Oh, yeah, can you ski?" "Yeah, I can ski." Right. So he made a decision of basically becoming desperate. Right, and he wouldn't get any of the roles. He made a decision for his self-worth to go, you know what, I'm going to say no to that. It's not success is not about saying yes to everything. It's about saying no to some things that don't resonate, because then you know what your self-worth is. And as soon as he made that decision, he started getting all the roles. When his agent would call me, "Oh, you want to get this audition?" "No, I'm not doing it."
Yeah, but right? Then this may be a very shallow mindset, a shallow question to ask. But is he doing that just because is he doing that turning down offers because he can't afford to do it because
No,
of his
this is
financial.
before he became Leo.
Right. Okay.
This is before he came Leo, right? And there was a lot of, I think it's Ben Affleck, another one of the actors as well. He played Batman.
Yeah.
And then now he's getting typecast. Like, why would you want to play Batman?
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that if everyone listened to this, like there's a little person inside every single one of us, but there's also a bigger person inside of us. And the moment you are authentic with that self, great things happen.
Okay.
It's the same with friends, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? When you allow friends to treat you in a certain way, right? And they keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right? You're basically training them how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Same with relationships. You're hanging in a toxic relationship and you're with that person, whether it's personal business, your husband, wife, girlfriend, spouse, business partner, whatever it is, you allow them to treat like that. Well, that's how your life should be lived.
Wow.
You need to make a cut and just pattern interrupt that. And so you got to do things that are different.
Wow. That's some very wise words. I have a lot to take in.
I'm still learning. Like honestly, I've been in business, real estate for 20 years, business for about 15 years. But I still feel like I'm just at the beginning of my journey. Like,
But okay, what are some of the, like, I know that you do real estate, but what are some of the businesses you invested in or do in, and or it's like very successful that you don't talk about? I know that you mentioned you kind of invested into Clubhouse being one of them.
Yeah.
Clubhouse was huge during the pandemic.
Clubhouse, Kraken, which is like a
crypto.
Yeah, they got like what $20 billion valuation.
Oh wow.
One of the big ones, Anamoka. So they invested in Coinbase, OpenSea, Dustland, Sandbox. I mean, all that they're literally like number one in the Web3 space right now.
Right.
I mentioned Metaverse, Playground.
Yep.
Playground's another big one. Holiday Swap, which I mean, James, who runs Holiday Swap, is an incredible entrepreneur and just got his own airline now. He's just closing that deal. But like, these are some of the like big things that I'm thinking about. And the reason why, a lot of the reason why I invest in these companies is not because it's going to change the world. It's the person behind it with the vision.
Right.
Right? What are they going to turn it into? Like Holiday Swap is incredible. Like you can rent someone's house for $1. Right? It broadens the gap. So this is
Wait, this is in the metaverse or this is in real?
No, this is real life.
Okay, real.
Yeah, it's real life.
Okay, just checking.
Right.
Like, you pay $1 for a digital house, you'd be like, oh, hi, welcome to my house.
Yeah, I
Okay.
invested in another one called AAI, which is like automations anywhere. So you look at all the big apps like Grab and all these places, they're using this technology, right, to automate everything. They're doing like close to $1 billion in revenue right now.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so that's a good one. By the way, how to get into these deals? By connecting with the right people. Like, do you think like anyone can just get access to allocation like that? No way.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you need to know the right person and yeah, you need to know the right connections and stuff like that. It's always about connections.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so then this is another question who will probably be very applicable to people who want to start in the entrepreneurship stage. Like, somebody has an idea and they want to raise funds. What's the right way to raise funds and what's the wrong way to ask for money?
First of all, it's very easy to raise funds now, especially in the Web3 space.
Really?
Like, one of the reasons why I continue to do my talks is I create incubators. So I then find people, for example, a good friend of mine, he owns a company called Farms, but he was one of my participants in an event.
Okay.
He came up to me and said, John, can you help me with my business? And I did. So Whole Foods just offered him $73 million to buy his company.
Hi, John, help me with my business. I'd like to sell it for $150 million.
But there's certain things that you get to, that's what I mean. You meet great people like this. You have great, and do you know, the story is so powerful. Like, his dad had cancer. Doctors said that he wouldn't live, but he was able to, with his nutrition, able to extend his life for a couple more years.
Yep.
But he said, why don't normal people or people out there know these basic nutritional stuff, right? Like, there's so many misconceptions of that. And that's why I bought into that company, because that company and the founders behind it, they have a personal story attached to it,
Right.
which is why it's going to be a passion to keep moving forward.
Wow. It's very interesting conversation today, because like, hardly do I get to talk with someone who kind of has like a huge network worth millions with other people who run businesses and been very successful. I think like, before we kind of wrap up today, I just want to ask a few questions.
Go for it.
Right. How has success changed you? That's the first question.
So money and success doesn't really change people. It makes you more of who you are. So if you're like a billionaire and you're a douchebag, you're going to be a douchebag with that money, right? But if you're a billionaire with and I notice a lot of my billionaire friends, they're very heart centered.
Yes.
It's never about the money. It's always about impact. How many more lives can I change? What disruptive technology can I do that's going to make lives for people much simpler and easier?
Right.
So success, I mean, I honestly don't think I'm successful. I'm not saying that to be humble or brag or anything like that. That's like, I have so much to learn. Like, I just spent some time with my friend in Silicon Valley. She flew over to here to Malaysia. I spent 3 days with her. I was showing took her to all the nice places like, was it Village Park with the nice.
Okay. I'm glad you visited Village Park. That's very touristy, but still a nice place
I know. I'm still a tourist. But like, she was sharing this stuff, and my mind was just blown. I'm like, Jesus, like, the moment you think you know everything, you know nothing. And that's why you must always surround yourself. You want to play a game of people, to improve your game, you got to play a game with someone better than you. So that's how you improve. So success is really about the learning process. People say to me, I want to become a millionaire. How do I do it?
Yeah.
Right? And give me the strategy. Give me that shortcut. That's the wrong question.
Okay.
The right question is, who do I have to become to achieve that?
Okay.
So people look at the end destination, but that's actually the worst thing that can happen. It's like in a job. You get a job. You keep going, oh, I'm a director, I'm this and that, and then you lose your interest. It's the journey.
I always believe that the end destination will never be what you envision it to be in the first place. It's always completely different.
It's the journey, like all the trials, the tribulations, the failures.
Yeah.
Like that is what makes you who you are. I mean, what's that Mike Tyson quote? It's like something about being punched in the face.
He punches a lot of people, but
he says, something about, you never know what it's like to get punched. I forget what the quote is. Maybe someone on this podcast can correct me on that.
Yeah.
But it's about that. It's like eating your humble pies. That's how I live my life. That I'm always learning. I'm always very curious. Like, how does that work? How's that? Like, my billionaire friend told me, he said, John, it's very easy to become a billionaire. I said, how? About acquisition. I said, what do you mean? Do you know why people take companies public? Like, they'll have the company and they'll put it on the stock exchange because now they have stocks.
Yep.
So now they use the stocks to acquire companies. So it's what we call Lego building.
Right.
So they'll take this company and acquire that company. That's $1 million. That's another 2 million. That's 3. Before long, they've got this portfolio with like millions in there.
That's crazy.
And that lifts the share price.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my God, that's so smart.
That's you think it's smart. I think it's confusing. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, sounds good. Like, so I think you kind of answered my question already, because like I asked you how has success changed you, and I think the next question I wanted to ask was, how has money changed you for the past 15 years?
Money for me, it was never always about the money.
But okay, in the beginning, when you were going through hardship, it was about the money. I'm pretty sure.
It was about freedom. It's different.
Okay.
Right? I'll tell you why. So there are different types of wealth. You have being broke, like living the breadline like I was.
Yes.
Second stage is financial security.
Mm-hmm.
How much money do I have to make to cover all my costs?
Yes.
So now I can think and I have time.
Right.
Because people are stuck in the jobs and they can't see the woods through the trees. Level up from that is becoming rich. You have cash. But the level up from that is wealth.
Okay.
So there are 4 levels of wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so for me, it was never about becoming a millionaire and making all this money. I was just passionate about what I did.
Okay.
You probably hear it from my voice. Even now.
Okay.
Like, I still do what I do because of what happened to me many, many years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So the money is about becoming free. So I only needed to make an extra 3, 4, 5,000 pound a month recurring, so I didn't have to work anymore.
Right.
Right? That gave me the time to think, to strategize, to do strategic thinking, to build my networks and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
My billionaire friend said to me, really Monday should be your networking days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you should work 5 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, your networking day. Weekends is for your family and your passion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And when I understood that, it's like, why do we do what we do? Right? We want choice. We want freedom. Like, if I say to people listening to me right now, would you rather have 10 million revenue or profit in your companies, and you're really stressed, you have to work every single day?
Okay.
Or would you rather make $1 million and work whenever you want to have the choice to live the life you do, like on your own terms?
Mm-hmm.
Most people would take the 1 million.
I see. Yeah. I mean,
So
for the majority of the people listening, probably they may not understand the concept, but like I might maybe a little bit.
Well,
it's not hard to be like, okay. So people tend to say that I'm a YouTuber, but then turn entrepreneur. But and then sometimes when I see all these stories online saying that entrepreneurship is very lonely, it is, because it is. Nobody understands what I go through, and it's stressful. Sometimes you can borderline just stare at the wall for like 3 hours a night, thinking like, how do I pay all of my staff's salary for the next 3 years and stuff like that. But okay, here's another question I want to ask you. You have a lot of friends who are millionaires, billionaires, and you probably know a lot of them. Yeah. What do all of them have in common?
Oh, the one thing I noticed from every single one of them is that they are constantly investing in this.
Their minds.
The mindset.
The mindset.
The mindset. Because if you look at the graph, right, you get this growth, and then you get a plateau. You get a growth and plateau, growth, plateau. Mm-hmm. Each one of these points of plateau is basically you have to have what we call a paradigm shift.
Right.
right? Something like if you do the same thing every single day, expecting different results, the definition of insanity, right? What we have to do is do the same things, work out what doesn't work, and keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. So I noticed that in all of them. And the second thing I noticed, they wake up early, right? So most of them don't get that much sleep. Right? I mean, look at Elon Musk is getting like 5. By the way, that's not something I'm condoning.
Yeah.
Because sleep's very, very important. But do you know why?
I sleep a lot. I want to sleep a lot. I don't care, okay? I want to sleep a lot. I love sleep.
But the thing is, like, I have so many ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was saying to my friend in Silicon Valley, I said, like, if there was a pill that you could take and just not sleep and still be healthy, right, that would be so good. Because I go to sleep having so many ideas and I wake up and thinking, oh my God, like, it sounds bad. But when I'm sleeping, it feels like I'm wasting time. But it's not. I mean, sleep's very, very important.
Yeah.
You got to get your sleep in. And sometimes, I'll sleep and I'll have naps and things like that. But I find that a lot of them also wake up a lot earlier. The third thing I noticed with all of them, they are not the smartest person in the room, right? Because if you're the smartest person in the room, you're going to go broke pretty quick. Like, you have an incredible team here that are doing your cameras, editing. You've got a whole marketing department, a whole social media department.
I have an amazing team. I feel that my team is smarter than I am.
Right. That's why you're successful. That's why you're successful. Because you are not the person driving it all. It's your entire team.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I would say that they all are a lot smarter than I am. Now I'm friend now. Ha! No, I'm not gonna fire them. No, they're amazing. I think I owe it to my team to be where I am today. Is that okay actually? Because a lot of people think that the boss of the company or the leader of the company has to be the smartest one in the entire company.
No, like there are two forms of leadership. You've got the leader or the boss who's like, do this, do that, do that, do this, and like they're really like, So if you I want people to imagine a picture, a piece of paper, and you've got all these people, and at the front you've got a person.
Yeah.
Right. So this person who's pulling everybody.
Yeah.
That's your traditional boss and your leader.
Yeah.
What you want to do is take the boss and put them to the back and push him from the back.
Yeah.
That is where true leadership is.
I cannot say that I agree with that because I don't think I'm a leader, all right? But that concept I believe in because I feel that everybody who runs a business or the boss of the company should not be the boss of the company. Yes, they are obviously automatically deemed a leader, but they should be actually an enabler.
Yeah.
An enabler. Like if a person, like for example, I'll give you an example for myself. If someone comes up to me, hey, I've got this idea for a film, but no brand will invest in it. I say, it's okay, I'll invest in it to build your portfolio. And that basically enables him to get that film done and put it out there and have people watch his strength, his creative input or his talent. And that's what I kind of have that my mindset has changed to that because before this I was a YouTuber and a lot of people tend to think that, oh, what's your end goal? Oh, I want to have 1 million subscribers, 10 million subscribers because the AdSense is going to be amazing. And now I hardly appear on YouTube or I hardly go in front of the camera, but the investment is trying to basically get every single individual in this company to do more. And sometimes I don't know why, but I feel guilty.
No.
Like for example, I'm gonna push my producer, do more, and then they ask how. I don't know how, but like let's throw me ideas and I'll tell you whether it works or doesn't work. That's the best I can do. But somehow, they will do it until it succeeds. And for me, it's like, oh, that's not me, that's you. I just gave them I would say a push start, like your car, push to start, boom, and then they're the engine and the petrol.
But that's great leadership because what you're doing is you're not dictating what the person should do. You're allowing that person to live in his highest form.
I hope you don't think I'm trying to fish for comments over here. For me, it's just more experience, the conversation of experience.
No, but this is the conversations we need to have.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't hear this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think people if anyone's seen your work on social, and I mean I've seen it. It's just incredible. I mean, like I can see the creativity you've got in there. I can see it's not just something that's been knocked up.
Yeah.
You do things that are different. Right, you put things out there and you grab attention, and you know how the game works. Mm-hmm. So that is a whole. And you just when I came in today, you had your whole media department masterminding ideas. It creates mastermind to create ideas, and it kind of reminds me of Pixar.
Oh, so really? I don't mind being Pixar, by the way. So if any investors out there want to turn my company into Pixar, you can invest in my company. I don't know what I'm going to, I can't tell you how we're going to be successful, but just give me the money first, okay?
Well, look at Pixar. Pixar, they're all masterminding every single time.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole environment is around that. And look at who the person behind it, Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That's right. Steve Jobs.
Right?
Yes.
Steve Jobs didn't know anything about animation, but he put his creativity there. Steve Jobs didn't really know anything about the phones, but he put his creativity there. He had the best people. He called them A players.
Right.
When you have a group of A players in your team,
Yeah.
your business succeeds. But it's finding those A players, nurturing them, giving them leadership, giving them space to grow, giving them ownership.
Yeah. Okay, so when you said ownership, does it mean ownership of the company or
No. Ownership. Well, actually,
because the reason why I asked that is because that you may some people, bosses might do whatever what you just mentioned, like give them an opportunity to be an A player, and all of a sudden the A player leaves and start their own company, and then how does one handle that?
well, that's always going to happen.
Okay.
Right. So here's the strategy. You know that's going to happen, so you place something in place. So, for example, I used to train a lot of speakers up.
Yeah.
Right. I teach them everything, like this, and I teach them everything. They know how to speak, they know how to promote, they know how to get the gigs, they know how to deliver person. They know everything. And after 2 years, they would leave.
Yeah.
And it kept happening. I'm like, why does this keep happening to me? So they can make so much money with that. So I knew it was going to happen. So I put into the contract. At some point, you're going to leave.
Yeah.
I just tell them up front. At some point, you're going to leave. That's fine. Let me invest in you.
Oh.
Right. So now we make the mind shift from competition to now collaboration. That's why when you told me about what you did, I think that's incredible that you get to have these amazing artists that you can fund and get their message to the world.
Right.
And of course, for doing that, you do need some kind of reward for this. Don't feel guilty about that. Without you, they couldn't get there.
Yeah.
It's collaboration.
But what do you think of those people who tend to be built by leaders, but then when they go out, everybody wants to make it on their own. You know what I mean? When they go out and tell their story, they want to tell people that, I did it all on my own. There's some people over there where you help, but at the end they go out and they totally do not give any credit to their initial leaders or bosses. What do you think of those people?
You have to give. I mean, how many conversations have we had in this podcast where I mentioned all my mentors?
Right.
All the people like, Ying Tan, who was one of my first property investors.
Yeah.
Right. Like that I was working. He's Malaysian. Right. So I kind of have this this relationship with Malaysia. My wife is Malaysian. I come back here and have all these incredible food and things like that. But like, you've got to give credit when credit is due.
Okay.
Right. And you've got to work with people. Like this is saying, right? You want to go fast, go alone.
Yep.
You want to go far, go together.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Right?
yeah.
So yes, they can only get so far. Like I can only get so far doing what I do. But all the things that you see on my social media, those cartoons, not done by me, even though I could draw them and I'm an animator.
Yeah.
I have someone great who does that.
Yep.
I have my MD. I have the person my manager who reached out for all. Normally, it was my manager reaching out to you.
Okay.
Right. But I saw a direct relationship. I thought, oh well, I know Peng. Peng Jun's a good friend of mine, and let me reach out. Right. I'm going to be in Malaysia anyway.
Well, what made you reach out to me? To be honest, like I don't see. I don't know why anyone would reach. Actually, not only yourself, but I don't understand why anyone would reach out to me.
So do you know sometimes when you meet people,
yeah,
right, and your friend says you should go meet that person,
right?
So I know if my friend Peng Jun is on this show,
yeah.
I know the show is going to be good, without doing anything else,
right?
Without doing anything else, right? It's kind of like when your friend says to you, "Oh, you want to do a deal," right? And normally you'd have contracts and things like that in place. You know that person's going to follow through because of the trust.
Yeah.
So it's the trust factor,
right?
So that's why. For me, I mean, now we have an incredible conversation.
Yeah.
Incredible questions.
Okay, yeah.
That just get me like fired up and I just feel so passionate about this. So for me, it's about that again, it comes back to the network.
Yeah.
It's not who you know, but it's who knows you. Mm-hmm. And that's why the reason my Clubhouse became so big,
yep.
In the pandemic is because you can only get in through invite only.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Only getting through
it sucks, okay? It's only made for iPhone users. I was using an Android. Yeah, I had to kind of ask my wife to can you kind of download it on your iPad so I can kind of go in and yeah. It was fun, but it lasted for quite a while.
Yeah.
And and wow, I look, I know that we have more to talk about and I kind of want to have you back on the show someday. And I know the fact that you mentioned that you have a Malaysian wife, so you're going to make multiple trips back to Malaysia because obviously our food is the best in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I go to UK a lot for food too. Ulu Klang, not in UK, United Kingdom. But yeah. John, thank you so much for really, coming on the show, having this conversation. I feel like we're not done, but, I feel we're going to have you back here again to talk.
I feel a part 2 is coming.
Yeah, definitely. But before we go, anything you want to kind of mention out to our listeners who are listening today, any parting words?
I just say, whatever you do, focus on it. Don't let people talk you out of your dreams. And the number one rule is the more action you take, the more money you make. Go out there with passion, with love, serve, give, and great things will happen.
And I believe that people tend to always want to have the fast way out. Like when you mentioned McDonald's was founded by a person who was 50 years old. So it's always never too late, isn't it?
Be patient.
Okay.
Patience is the virtue. Great things come to those who wait, but just be ready for it.
Yeah, because trust me when I say this, every young teen would want everything they envy about now. I want that great car. I want that nice watch. I want that nice house. I want that, beautiful holiday and whatever. But yeah, patience comes to those who really work hard for it.
Well, don't try and compare yourself with other people, right? Don't be the best. Be your best. As long as you put everything into it and you know it's working, make it happen.
Awesome. John, thank you so much, man.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, it's been an amazing... Oh, the music's done. I'm going to play the music again. I don't care. All right, I'm going to play the music again. It's been an amazing... Well, dude, we've been talking for almost an hour and a half.
What?
Almost an hour and a half.
You said 20 minutes.
Yeah, but thank you again for coming in to have this conversation. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you guys have basically taken away something from today's episode. Remember, you can watch this on YouTube. You can actually stream this on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, all the streaming podcasts. But, for me, it's on Spotify because, that's what I mostly post about all the time. We have our... John, what are your socials so that everybody can kind of check you out?
Just go to John Lee. You see the verified accounts.
I mean, you can see all the Hollywood stars he's been mingling with. You met Benedict Wong, the Marvel superstar. Yeah. You met Rio Ferdinand. You met a lot. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, go check it out. A lot of comics, a lot of words of... a lot of life hacks, I would say. And of course, follow our socials, Mamak Sessions. It is at MAMAKSESSIONS. On TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook as well. Thank you very much, guys. We'll speak to you guys next time.